Today's video, we will be talking about the first and second episode of The Secrets of Hillsong that was just released last night on live television. The other two remaining episodes, episodes 3 and 4, will be released next Friday night on live television. But for now, I think there's a lot for us to unpack and unfold in this entire episodes 1 and 2 when it comes to sex, infidelity, adultery, lying, drugs, LGBTQ, and racism. There was so much put into these two episodes. I really want to focus in on breaking these episodes down. And then at the end of this video, guys, giving us a prayer that every single one of us should be praying daily. We finally get to see Carl Lenz and Laura Lenz speak out about all of this. And there was discussion and talks about the LGBTQ community and racism. And when it comes to those types of things, those are also touchy topics. But where Hillsong failed is what the gay community had come out and spoken on this document series in these episodes was, listen, they kept telling us, come as you are, come as you are, come as you are, you're welcome. And we're thinking this whole time that it's okay to be gay and a Christian. It's okay that, yes, if I'm practicing homosexuality, I'm going to be in heaven and I'm able to be a leader in worship. And that's where we see some error happening with the teachings of Hillsong and Carl Lenz specifically in saying, hey, this community, the LGBTQ community, was thinking, hey, it's okay to keep practicing what I'm practicing, to keep doing what I'm doing, because I'm not being told otherwise. And then the racism thing came out to where now we're discussing and talking about how it's a very diverse community in the church, yet the leadership was predominantly all white. And so how did that look? But Carl was responding with those types of questions with saying, hey, listen, I was the pastor of Hillsong, New York, but that didn't make me the person in charge of the rules of Hillsong, New York. I was above even Carl, and that was pointed directly to Brian. And so we see that even Carl's hands were tied because he was pretty vocal about Black Lives Matter, which then stirred up some issues with Brian Houston and him not agreeing with that and liking that. So it just stirred up some issues and caused some controversial discussion and talks. And so people then, of course, look at Carl and say, you're the reason why these things aren't getting done. But in reality, Carl was expressing, hey, listen, these weren't my choices. These were things that I had to submit to the people above me. And so we see some clarity on that as well when it comes to the racism issue that people claim with Hillsong. But then there was something that I really wanted to look deeper into. And that was when Carl talked about his sin and was pretty open about what was going on, not with just the affair that happened for 6 months, which got him kicked out of Hillsong, but apparently from what Carl was saying and Laura was saying and all of this that came out, this wasn't the only affair. And now there were whispers around the internet when it came to this, but this was something that even shocked me in finding out that there was a 5-long-year relationship between Carl and their nanny that was sexual, and Laura really just didn't have any clue. And at one point, Laura seemed to walk in on them at one point, but she punched her, and that was put online, but it was kind of brushed under the rug. Yet it finally comes out, and that one was something that really shocked me. And the fact that Laura Lenz is still married to Carl Lenz is incredible, because she had every single right to leave, to step away from the marriage because Carl's adultery that he committed once, but multiple times as well. And so she had every right to leave, but she didn't. and applause to her for that. And it seems like they have been really working on their marriage. Like I said in the past, Carl Lenz is going through therapy. He's doing the right steps in order to really just like clean up this addiction that he had. And he even talked about where this addiction had stemmed from, and how it kind of built up in his life from when he was a young boy being sexually molested by another boy, and having to kind of suppress that and hide that from everybody. And then taking ADHD medicine and abusing those pills, and then mixing those pills with alcohol throughout his entire life, and then just having this addiction with alcohol, with sex, with lust, and then just kind of living this double life of, I'm a pastor on Sundays, yet I am totally in the world and of the world every other day, and going out on my wife, committing adultery, infidelity, drinking heavily, doing prescription drugs, all of these things, just like two different lives. And that was pretty eye-opening to even me watching this. And with all of this being said, there has been a lot said about Carl, but we have to be reminded that he is taking the proper steps. He is bettering himself and running to the Lord in all of this. And they're working on their marriage together as a team. And that is all encouraging. And he's been silent for 3 years and now is finally speaking out. And he's at a new job, not taking the role of a pastor or an overseer or an elder or a deacon, none of those things. And that should still encourage us. And we also need to be reminded that his sins were plastered for the entire world to see, to read about, to watch videos about. What if that happened to you or I? How would we feel if if our sins were then brought out to light, brought out onto the internet for everybody to read and watch videos about? Man, that would suck. That would be horrible. That would make none of us feel comfortable at all. Yet that's what Carl went through, and he did it to himself, yes, but we should still have this compassion towards this whole situation. By no means do I justify what he did, but I'm encouraged to see what he is doing and how he's using the sin and the disgusting things that were committed. And now we see the Lord really using that for what was bad, but now for what is good. And that should encourage us. And I want to leave us with a prayer that we should all be praying every single day, because this could happen to any of us. It doesn't have to be necessarily about sex and lust or drugs. It could be about any kind of sin. And so it's from a hymn, Come Thy Fount. And it says this in the song, "Oh, to grace, how great a debtor daily I'm constrained to be. Let that grace now, like a fetter, bind my wandering heart to thee. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it. Prone to leave the God I love. Here's my heart, oh, take and seal it. Seal it for thy courts